Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. Today we've got an interesting piece of vintage tech to look at. What is this, you ask? I don't really know yet. I got this at a local computer surplus store, Free Geek. I've talked about them before, and I do intend to go do a tour of them when I get a chance, but for right now we're just going to take a look at this weird gadget that I picked up from them. It was $5 whole. And this thing features a little membrane keyboard, a display, that makes it basically a computer right there. And yeah, I have a thing for old, weird, vintage computers like this, and for $5, yeah, I couldn't pass this up. Now, this thing is made by Atlantic Products. It's called an Interview 40A. It actually has a United States Postal Service Capital Property sticker on the back, so it seems like this was government property. This had something to do with the post office. As I said, it's got this very interesting front panel, and the back side has a printer port, an auxiliary port, video out, power in, and a little fuse compartment. It's got a handle on the top. It has little rubber feet on the side and on the bottom. It's got this little access hatch on the top, and we can see the motherboard inside and some expansion boards. In the lid here, we have a little Velcroed case, and that contains some data cables, power cable. We've got these little strips with numbers on them, 1, 2, 3. I think those are just quick reference to stick on the front. We have some little baggies with tiny little probe leads or jumper leads. And that's about it. There's no manual for this. There's no real information. So the internet tells me this is a serial protocol data analyzer. So we've got an RS-232 port here. This is the old style RS-232, the 25 pin. And then we can directly look at each line of the serial port. We can switch these from open to pass-through to different jumpers. And yeah, I don't really understand what all this is, but it looks like we can do a bunch of analysis on serial protocols, serial devices, cables, ports, different stuff. If I can get this working and figure out how to do stuff with it, it might actually be really interesting. I have some serial port projects coming up, and I have a bunch of old 1970s junk kicking around that I'd like to be able to interface with. We've got this big rotary switch between modem test, monitor, and looks like terminal test. Again, we've got this kind of neat flush keyboard mounted right on the front. These membrane keyboards never really work very well, but it's kind of a cool thing that it's neat to see, and it's fun to use once and then it gets to be a pain. I think we might be able to hook up an external keyboard to this, and there's that external monitor port on the back. So if we want to actually use this for anything beyond a novelty, we might be able to hook up some peripherals to it. This thing is a little dusty, so I'm just going to give it a quick exterior wipe down. And I actually just realized there's another DB25 port here on the bottom that says it's for factory use only. So this is some kind of debug or programming terminal to probably set it up before it leaves the factory, load in new firmware. If these things even had firmware, I don't know if they had invented firmware back in the day or if it was all just ROMs or what exactly you would call the memory in the operating system on this. Let's go ahead and give this some electricity and see if it turns on. Fluff here is going to help. Cats love to help with all of my projects, of course. She's probably hoping this is going to be a nice warm device. So I'm going to pop her off of this just in case there's a short circuit somewhere. We don't need to zap the cat. Alright, big chunky on switch. And we're getting a big jet engine fan noise on the back, so it does seem to be powered, although the screen is not currently coming on. We are getting a couple lights on the front panel. We've got hex and freeze, and there are some interesting buttons on this keyboard. We've got program, run, clear, bit mask, flag, and don't care. That is a pretty cool button right there. I wish my modern computer had a don't care button. Okay, so we can get some different lights to turn on by turning this switch. Let's open this up and see if there are any user serviceable parts inside. This is something I really miss on modern tech. Lots of exposed, simple Phillips head screws, very easy to take apart, no weird connectors, no hidden screws, no tamper-resistant seals. Back in these days, you were supposed to be able to open these things up and fix them. Nowadays, companies want to make it illegal to open their stuff up. When something modern breaks, you're just supposed to throw it into the trash, go out and spend as much money as possible on the next one, and don't even think about fixing things. Even if I don't understand what's in here or what's going on, sometimes there's at least useful parts in there. And And that's really the entire background of this channel. Save it for parts. Alright, we've got the top off of it. Lots of cobwebs in here, but surprisingly not too dirty. We have here a Zilog Z80A CPU. So this is a very standard CPU in a lot of 1970s, 1980s computers. I'm seeing dates on here of 1979 on a lot of the chips, so that's probably when this was assembled. Now, I don't want to go poking around too much in here because there are quite a few capacitors and those can store power for a while, so it's pretty easy to shock yourself when you're working with a CRT system. I am just going to look at it briefly, see if I can tell if there's anything obvious broken or anything that I, as kind of an inexperienced CRT repair guy, can fix. For example, this green connector here is a little bit loose, so I can try to seat that better. It's possible that one of those capacitors has leaked, although I'm not seeing any capacitor goo on the board. The little faceplate here in front of the CRT is loose, so yeah, it's possible it's been dropped or banged into something, and it's possible the CRT has cracked and lost its vacuum. I don't see any obvious cracks yet. And there is the stub of a brightness knob back here, but nothing happens no matter which way I turn it. So we've got that little video out port, which as I zoom in on it is very bent, so yeah, this definitely looks like it's been dropped. I'm assuming that's composite video. I'm gonna look around in my junk and see if I have anything that is compatible with that. Okay, the nearest thing I could find was the control monitor from my ROV project. That thing is in pieces after it flooded in an abandoned mine a couple years ago, so haven't been using this too much. I just need to find an adapter for BNC to RCA. All right, let's try it again. And we're not getting a signal on either of the inputs with this. So it's possible that the onboard video system of this is not working and the little CRT display is working just fine. I still suspect the CRT because I don't feel any static, I don't hear any humming. Usually when one of these things is active, even with no signal, there's a little bit of surface static on the screen. You can feel that with your fingertips. I don't feel anything. However, I'm also not getting anything out of that external video, so it's possible it's NTSC versus PAL or the other way around, but usually you'd get something on the screen if it's the wrong standard. We do have a test and reset button on the motherboard here. I can give those a shot. As far as I can tell, that just makes it beep. I have one other composite video gadget we could try with this. This is a little DVR recorder thing for composite video. I think it's for pirating old movies, but I had it on the ROV as well so I could record the live fish camera video. And I did actually find a PAL to NTSC adapter, so if this does happen to be the wrong format, we can switch it over to the other one. And we still seem to have no input here. Now I get something when I plug in the Atlantic Research Unit, just a little bit of static there for a second. So it seems like something's coming out of it, but yeah, it's saying PAL no signal as well. Alright, so my kind of last ditch idea is maybe that isn't composite out, maybe it's RF, maybe it's like TV channel 3 or something. And I have an analog TV, this old Sony Watchman. This may look like a flat screen, but this is actually a CRT as well. So there's actually a cathode ray tube in here, and then there's this angled phosphor screen. So the picture gets blasted out onto this little thing, and it's like a periscope. Really weird. It does actually work, although nobody broadcasts analog TV anymore. See if this happens to be outputting on channel 3 or 4. Yeah, definitely nothing coherent. Well, unfortunately, it sure is looking like the Interview 40A unit is dead. I can't get anything out of the onboard display. I can't get anything out of the video out. Maybe I'm doing something completely wrong. Maybe that's some other video out format that's not composite, that's not RF channel 3. I'm not really sure what else there was in the 1970s, 1980s, but there might be another video format that I'm just not familiar with. So if anybody out there knows something else I could try, let me know in the comments and I'll give it a shot. Otherwise, if you know where I can find one of these, I think this is a Motorola D00E display unit for under $5, yeah, I'll swap this out and give it a try. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not getting much out of this unit as is, other than it looks kind of cool. Now, what I could do with a unit that looks kind of cool like this, brain swap, display swap, put an LCD display in there, put a Raspberry Pi, some other single board computer in there, maybe put a better keyboard in. Like I said, these membrane keyboards are really just a novelty. They're fun once and then they're horrible to work with. So it looks cool, but not a very usable keyboard. Yeah, this could be rebuilt as a modern data analyzer, some kind of a cyberdeck, some kind of a retro PC for who knows what. I've done some cyberdeck type things before, so this could be a good platform for a project like that. I do kind of have some ideas that could be kind of fun, but that remains to be seen when I have time. I also have kind of an interesting retro cyberdeck idea for this old TV, so we might get around to that at some point this year too. Thanks for sticking with me through the whole video. I'm sorry that I didn't really get anywhere with this unit. I was hoping to have it up and running, show you what it would do, but unfortunately it does kind of nothing. If we do figure out how to do something with this, if we figure out how to fix it or brain swap it, turn it into something else, then yeah, stay tuned and see what happens. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.